Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be recommending some fall TV shows. I've really been in the fall spirit and I thought it would be fun to recommend some TV shows that give off fall vibes or that take place in the fall. I am going to do a fall romance book recommendation video that will be on Wednesday, I do believe. But I thought it would be fun to do one for TV shows because I realized I like a lot of fall TV shows or that like give off fall vibes. So I'm gonna recommend 9 TV shows. So the first TV show that I recommend that gives fall vibes is Only Murders in the Building. This is on Hulu and the first season is currently airing. There will be 10 episodes. It was also renewed for a second season. This follows 3 people who live in an apartment building and they are all obsessed with this crime podcast, and suddenly there is a murder in their building and they decide to try to solve the murder and create their own crime podcast. This show is a mix of a comedy and drama. It has a great murder mystery storyline throughout the show. I feel like this show takes you about 4 episodes to get in. I was hooked from the beginning, but I know for a lot of people it was kind of the 4th episode that really got them into the show. It's definitely a little different. I wouldn't say it's that funny at first. I feel like you have to kind of get into the show and then you do realize things are a little bit funny or weird. I think it's a very unique show. I am really enjoying it and I feel like it definitely fits the fall vibes. It feels very atmospheric and it has kind of this dark edge to it, but it also is kind of light. The aesthetic of the buildings and just the way that the show is shot definitely gives me the fall vibes. So I totally recommend this show. The next show that I recommend is A Discovery of Witches. This currently has 2 seasons. The 3rd season is supposed to air sometime next year. This you can watch on Sundance Now and Shudder, and I also do believe you can try to get it through Amazon Prime. A Discovery of Witches is an adaptation of the All Souls series by Deborah Harkness, and it follows Diana Bishop, who is a historian and a witch, but she doesn't use her magic. She kind of ignores that part of her. And one day she's in a library and she takes out a very special book, and it's a book that has been lost for centuries. And suddenly all of these other creatures, vampires, other witches, and demons want this book. One person in particular who wants it is Matthew Clairmont, who is a vampire. It's a very magical and romantic show. I definitely recommend this show if you want a heavy romance story. I am obsessed with the show. It is one of my favorites. I love all of the characters. The 2nd season deals with a little bit of time travel. It's just a very unique and special show, and the acting is phenomenal. The costumes, the setting, the atmosphere. Each episode is so beautiful. I just really love this show and I'm constantly raving about it. I wish it was on a different platform because I feel like more people would watch it, but I really love this show and I feel like it definitely fits with the fall season. The next show I recommend is Dracula. This was on NBC for 1 season and 10 episodes. I'm just gonna read the IMDb description because I feel like I'm just gonna butcher the summary of the show. So, Dracula travels to London with dark plans for revenge against those who ruined his life centuries earlier. However, his plan is complicated when he falls in love with a woman who seems to be a reincarnation of his dead wife. I feel like it's a very quick show. Like if you want something that you don't really have to commit a lot of time to and you can just watch for like 10 nights, you can binge the show. It's very quick to watch. Again, it's kind of romance heavy as well, which I really liked, and it's very like sensual. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed it and I feel like it is a great show to watch during the fall season. The next show I have to recommend is Grimm. This was on NBC for 6 seasons. So Grimm follows a homicide detective who discovers he is a descendant of hunters who fight supernatural forces. This is actually one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I used to love Grimm so much. It was actually at one point the only show I would watch live. Like, I would watch it every Friday night, whereas a lot of other shows I would wait until the next day, or I'd watch them like on the weekends. I would binge everything that I missed during the week, but Grimm is the only show I would watch live. This show definitely had some iffy seasons. I will say, like, some of their storylines and plots later on in the seasons were a little rough. I loved how mysterious and atmospheric the first season is. It's very mystery heavy. Obviously, you have this detective who is trying to figure out what is wrong with him and like why he can see certain things. It's very interesting, a very different show, and I feel like you really have to give Grimm a chance. I know a lot of people think it's weird and it's strange, but you really have to give it a couple of episodes, and trust me, you will be hooked. It is such a great show. I also really love all of their Halloween episodes. They have a bunch of Halloween episodes, and I'm pretty sure they had a few Christmas episodes as well. I always loved their holiday themed episodes. The next show that kind of gives me fall vibes is Reign. This was on the CW for 4 seasons, and it just follows Mary Queen of Scots as she rules and her involvement at the French court. When I think of Reign, I think of a very warm, cozy feeling. If you want something that is interesting and female driven and romance heavy as well, and kind of, I would say, teen drama-ish, I guess. And like I said, cozy vibes, definitely like a warm fire. That is what I think of when I think of Reign, is like just this warm fire in this very big castle. I know people talk down about CW in general, but I feel like Reign is one of their best shows. I think they did a fantastic job with the show and the casting and the atmosphere. Like, even though it isn't historically accurate, and of course the outfits are not accurate, they're still beautiful, but they're not accurate. I still think it's a fun, heartbreaking show, and you just can't help but feel for Mary and Elizabeth. I don't know, there were so many elements of the show I really loved, and I do really miss it. I actually made a whole video talking about the final episode, I think. I did that years ago. I just really love the show, and I definitely need to do a rewatch soon. The next show I'm recommending is Witches of East End. This was on Lifetime for 2 seasons. This just follows 2 sisters who find out that they're witches, and that their mother and their aunt is also a witch, and that they have to defeat this great enemy. I believe this is also an adaptation of a book series. I think Melissa de la Cruz wrote the books. I haven't read the books, but I really enjoyed the TV show, and I have heard that a lot of people compare it to Charmed. I haven't seen Charmed, so I can't comment on that. This show is, of course, very magical, very whimsical, also is very heavy on the romance. There's definitely a lot of romance in this show, and I loved the setting and vibe of the show. It was very atmospheric, kind of like I said for all the other shows, but I loved like the house that they lived in and like where they worked and like the town that they lived in. I just really enjoyed this show, and it definitely reminds me of the fall time. I kind of actually really want to rewatch it now. The next show that kind of gives me fall vibes, I think it does take place a majority in the fall and winter, that is Bitten. This was on Space and Sci-Fi for 3 seasons. This is also an adaptation of the Women of the Underworld series by Kelly Armstrong. Again, I'm going to read the IMDb summary for this one. So Elena navigates her life between the human world and the werewolf world as the only female of the species. I really enjoyed this show back in the day. It, again, is very heavy on the romance, and definitely a different paranormal show. I believe it is technically a Canadian TV show, which I always love supporting Canadian productions. It's been so long since I've seen this show, I feel like I can't really remember a lot about it, but I do remember really enjoying it. And I feel like this is a show not many people know about or have watched. I remember it being quite dark as well though. And I mean, there's a lot of gore that happens in this show as well. I mean, they are kind of this pack of werewolves that try to kill their enemies and people who are after them and stuff, but I definitely recommend it if you want something a little different. The next two shows I'm going to kind of quickly recommend. So the first one is Virgin River. This is on Netflix. There are currently 3 seasons out, and it was renewed for a 4th and 5th season. This just follows Mel, who moves to a small town to kind of get a fresh start, and she becomes the local nurse, and she ends up falling in love with the owner of the local bar. This show is just very cozy, very easy to watch, sometimes very emotional, and it's filled with great characters and some great romance subplots. I really like the show, and I definitely recommend it for this time of the year. The last show I'm recommending is kind of an old one, but that is Ben and Kate. This was on Fox for 1 season. There were 16 episodes, and this just follows Kate, who is a young single mom, and her brother moves in with her to help her take care of her daughter, and he's also trying to come up with these crazy business adventures. This is actually one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It is very sweet, very cute, very funny. It also has a Halloween episode and a Thanksgiving episode, so it's right in the fall season. It stars Dakota Johnson, who is one of my favorite actresses of all time. I really, really love her acting. This show's really short, so you can definitely binge it if you want something that's very quick and very to the point. I always end up rewatching the show around this time because it just really makes me get into the fall mood. There's just something I really love about this show. I think it's cute and fun and sweet, and I love all of the characters, and I don't know, it's just one of my favorite comedy shows. So those were all 9 TV shows that I recommend for the fall season. Let me know if you have watched any of these shows before and what you think of them, and let me know what shows you recommend for the fall season, whether they take place in the fall or they give off fall vibes. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!